Okay, good day, Elizabeth. Let's jump straight in and start correcting your essays. Good. I'm going to read through it and make corrections as I go along. Okay. There is a single graph indicating the consumption of energy-producing foods for UK males in various ages. Excellent vocabulary. The y-axis depicts the total percentage of food intake. Maybe you could just put a comma here, while the x-axis shows the different age groups. Very clear and good vocabulary. The varying shapes of each graph are obvious upon first analysis. Okay? In general, we don't need the view. Okay? We can reflect that there is a constant decline in dairy products being utilized. Instead of saying utilized, say consumed. Okay, from 42%, 0 to 24, nice use of brackets, 25%, 45 to 49, and down to 15% for older men. Good. Okay, and again, very good use of brackets. Similarly, just say a similar trend can be observed in regards to vegetable consumption by the said population. And then begin a new sentence and say, there is a constant fall from 20% down to 15%. Good. However, however, middle-aged people, okay, say that instead, have the highest meat consumption rate compared to the young population and older men. Okay, and then begin a new sentence here and say, in contrast, okay, just shortening your sentences always helps. These people lobby. I don't know what you mean by that. Do you mean eat or consume? I'm not sure. More pulses, approximately tenfolds than younger men. Okay, there are just some grammatical issues over there. I'll just highlight that for you. Okay. Right. Pulses are the least caloric source chosen by average groups of people. Okay, and this sentence is also good. Okay, well done, Elizabeth. Let's move to your conclusion. To conclude, the chief differences between the graphs are the specific food preferences of various ages, such as dairy products for young population, meat for young adults, and pulses for seniors. Excellent vocabulary. As people get older, their choice of energy producing food. You can maybe just put it there for, okay, just to help. Right, that's a good essay, Elizabeth. Very good vocabulary. Maybe in places just try to shorten your sentences because sometimes they get a bit grammatically messy because they're very long and they're trying to do a lot. Just maybe in places shorten your sentences and simplify them. Good. Let's move to your next writing task. Okay, so we're sufficiently familiar with the question. We won't read through it again. Let's again jump straight in. Okay, the issue of copyright laws is a contentious matter that grows in importance. Okay, say instead that has grown in importance over the past few years since the government imposed these laws. Good. The influence of, okay, just plural, these laws in modern society greatly inhibits one's creativity. Okay, say instead, in my opinion, so your position is clear, okay? The influence of these laws in modern society greatly inhibits one's creativity, and in some way, copyright infringement can also be disappointing. This essay will discuss both issues using an example of artistic creation and learning possibilities to demonstrate points and support arguments. Okay, you've clearly responded to the first part of the question, but when you say copyright infringements can also be disappointing, it's not clear to me that you're dealing with the second part of the question as you should. Okay, would society function better without such rules and regulations? In your introduction, you should clearly respond to that part of the question. Okay, so let's move on. Firstly, there is an instance that copyright laws have been okay, so there's a repetition there, just delete that, for limiting a person's artistry. Good vocabulary. This is due to the fact that people nowadays are incapable of remodeling or recreating an original concept or contextual ideas without the owner's permission. Lovely vocabulary and grammar. For example, recent studies by the National Film Association showed that if copyright laws are not present, about 80% of the novels have been converted to films that can be easily viewed and enjoyed by the public. Okay? Just that sentence is slightly unclear. I've got a good sense of what you're trying to do, but just look at it again and try to express your ideas slightly more clearly. Okay? Therefore, the higher concern about the copyright violations, the lesser interest that the artists will show interest. Okay, again, try to simplify the sentence and just express the idea with fewer words. I've got a sense of what you're trying to say, but it's not as clear as perhaps it should be. Okay, good. Let's move on. Secondly, despite the existence of copyright rules and regulations, the government has failed to contain the desire of learning in most accessible and easiest way. Okay, this is due to the fact that some people cannot afford to buy novels or books. Good. For instance, in developing countries, a recent study, okay, just mention where the study comes from, shows that 80% of the people download and read ebooks online without copyright breach, which resulted in an increase of their vocabulary and comprehension skills. Thus, knowledge for indigent population, look at your vocabulary there, I'm not sure that's the correct words, can be attained without such laws and restrictions. Okay, just I'm going to leave your conclusion and just focus on an important issue so that we finish in time. And that issue is to do with task response. Now, you've clearly responded to this part of the question, but you haven't really clearly responded to the second part of your question. Would society function better? You seem to suggest that some developing societies get certain profits from there not being copyright laws, but that's not exactly the same as does society function better, okay? And you'll see, okay, and here you say in some ways copyright infringements can be disappointing, okay? But so I'm assuming that your P2 will be about that, but here you seem to say that copyright infringements are a good thing, okay? So there are a number of issues to do with argumentative consistency, Elizabeth. So I think your vocabulary is excellent, your grammar for the most part is good, although I would recommend that you shorten your sentences and use simpler words in places. So I think your main task in the upcoming writing tasks is to work on argumentative consistency and task response in the way that I've suggested. Good. I look forward to reading more of your work, and this has been excellent, apart from a few small issues. Congratulations.